Blog Talk Radio.
Please take all the necessary precautions to protect your Constitution while listening to this broadcast. 3, 2, 1. Coming to you live via the internet. It's time for Rage Against the Regime. Let's get ready to rumble! Finally, a show for patriots, defending the Constitution and uncovering the truth at every turn. Bringing you exclusive interviews and covering the topics the mainstream media doesn't dare to touch. Call in and join the discussion at 929-477-3565. That's 929-477-3565. And now, here are your hosts, Bobby Who's the Man and Becky Williams. Rage Against the Regime.
I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man. Yes, I am, yes, I am, yes, I am. I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man.
Gathered in their masses, just like witches at black masses. Evil minds that plot destruction, sorcerer of death construction. In the fields of bodies burning, as the war machine keeps turning, death and hatred to mankind, poisoning their brainwashed minds. Oh Lord, yeah.
That pretty much sums it up, folks. That was Ozzy, and he brought that to us more than 30 years ago. If that doesn't speak volumes. Hey, Bobby, are you on the line, brother? Are you on the line?
I am on the line. Yes, I am.
Hey, welcome, brother.
Yep.
I didn't know if you'd be able to make it today. I'm glad you're here.
No, I wouldn't just, I don't have to really participate. I could just be an innocent bystander, and I was going to let people know that we're going to open up the chat room. We opened it up a couple times the last couple shows. We had a couple people chatting, but I don't think people actually realize that we try to, open it up when we can and, try to have people, talking about the show and so on and so forth in the chat area. So, but I'm here if you want me here. I'm here if you need me here, whatever. But, I don't have to participate. So,
Oh, hell, you know I love You're my brother and my best sidekick. I love it when you're on the show with me when it's my day to rage. I opened up the mics today, brother, and I tagged a lot of...
Let me mute myself so you can talk, because it's...
Sure. I said I tagged a lot of people today to this open mic invitation, and I added us to a few extra groups that we did not belong to. So I'm expecting to have a pretty good turnout here in just a bit. I know there's some folks still at home. We've already got our first caller on the line. I'm going to go ahead and bring him on. He's a brother and patriot. He's very anxious to have his words heard today. Hey, Wilbur, brother, how are you doing?
Good, real good. Haven't heard. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, sir. Welcome to Rage Against the Regime. I'm really excited to have you on today.
Well,
what's
I'm glad
going on,
to be here.
brother? What's going on? What can you rage about today or share with folks that you need to have them hear?
Well, as a matter of fact, you getting put in Facebook jail was interesting. We all walk a thin line with Facebook, as you know.
Yeah.
In fact, one of the deals I put up today, one of my articles I put up for Doc today, was everybody's been putting up this disclaimer that Facebook doesn't have the right to do this or do that and use my pictures and all that. And so I put up my own disclaimer. Can I read it to you?
Sure, I wish you would, brother.
Okay, it says, notice to Facebook, I use your service in an effort to promote what I write for fame and fortune. After years of paying promoters ungodly sums of money who screwed me running, I welcome you plagiarizing, copying, and outright stealing my stuff. Because even the crumbs that fall from the master's table beats an empty plate. Should your efforts cause me to generate income by pushing something I wrote one night over a beer, I promise you I will kiss your butt until it is soda cracker white. Thank you so much for being stupid enough to offer an old pirate like me the chance to sneak in through your back door. You have a blessed day.
Touche, brother. Well said. Well said. Yeah, this wasn't my first time in Facebook jail. I don't know who the hell these people think they are, but I'm about to get real tired of them, and I'm going to find a way to circumvent their fiat contract for us to be on social media and speak openly and exercise our First Amendments. And for the NSA and the federal cockroaches out there that like to listen in to this show and interfere in our ability to get the truth to the people, you kiss my cracker ass. And stop it. My Fourth Amendment right. How about that? I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there on the airway. It's archived. I don't give a damn how many times they hear it. I'm going to continue to say it. My business is public. I don't hide anything. I call a dog and a spade a spade. And if I have folks on my friends list that are there with the intention of turning my business in as offensive, I have one word for you. Get the hell off my page. If you don't like what I have to say, move along. I didn't put it there for your pleasure. I put it there to be blunt and truthful. And if you don't like what I say or what I post, move on down the road and unfriend me. Because I'm tired of you little trolling asses having me put in Facebook jail for telling the truth. If you're offended by what I say, you need to take it to me in an IM and explain to me what exactly it was I said that offended you, and we'll have that discussion there. Don't act like a little 2-year-old, go run and tell Facebook Nazi camp everything that we do is offending you. Get the hell on down the road, you little troll. I got a country to save, and I don't have time to mess with the likes of you. How's that, Wilbur?
That's pretty good. You know what gets me is there's the old saying, if you don't like what's on a channel, change the channel. You've got to actually work to see posts on Facebook. You actually have to subscribe or follow or do something willingly to allow these things to come in. There's a group I belong to over in England, and they got a real hot discussion going about the government in India, and I didn't have anything against what they were saying, but I blocked the discussion, not the group, but just the discussion, because I couldn't work on my iPad without these things constantly popping up. But I didn't go to Facebook and say, oh, they're writing too much and they're hurting my feelings and la, 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 la. That's just stupid. That's childish. But they can say anything they want about Sarah Palin, Jesus Christ, Ronald Reagan, Santa Claus, Disney, anything they want, but the very moment you might insinuate that Muhammad had sex with a 9-year-old girl, oh, my living God. Let's shoot up 12 people in France.
Well, you know what? You're gonna get people like that who are offended by that. You're gonna get the idiots that haven't taken the time to read the Hadith and the Quran to fully understand that Islam is not a religion. It's a political ideology. It is a violent so-called religion. It's not a religion, and there's nothing peaceful about it. The only thing that's peaceful to them is if they are dominating and taxing and taking away from, raping and murdering other individuals in this world, not just in the Middle East. We experienced that today. We just saw where three of them took it upon themselves to carry out a contract that was put out on a cartoonist, a journalist in France back in March, and they murdered 2 cops and 11 employees that they called out by name, journalists. They called out by name and then executed them in their place of employment. And then the little cowardly bastards ran out and shot a cop and the street on their way back to their car. This is one of the reasons, Wilbur, we need to keep our weapons. You know, in France, they're not afforded the ability to arm themselves. They don't have the same rights we do. We're one of the few countries left that the citizens can actually own a weapon, to defend themselves. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'll speak out against Islam, and I'll tell the truth about the cockroach goat-humping pigs, and I'm not going to shut up about it. And if they want to come after me to execute me, then get your ass on over here. Let's go ahead and go to war. I'm tired. Wilbur. I'm tired of the people who need popsicles and hemorrhoid cream for their butt hurt because they're too ignorant to do their own educating of themselves when it comes to Islam.
Well, it's just like you ever heard of Ann Barnhart?
Yes.
I watched a beautiful video by her. Number one, she has a pink AR-15, and she took a large glass beaker, took a Quran, marked the offensive passages with strips of bacon, and went meticulously from one end to the other and tore pages out and burned them in the beaker. Then she turned around, gave her address and coordinates so they could make sure they found her.
Absolutely. Because we're not going to sit like helpless men and women in America and wait for you to walk into the workplace like you did that poor woman in Oklahoma. And I'm sure I have some terrorists who follow my broadcast because I make sure I go to all the pages that I possibly can that belong to the terrorist on Facebook, and I'm telling them every chance I get. So I've drawn them to me with purpose because I want them to know I'm going to expose them for who they are. And I want Americans to know that with intention, this VDOT government, this illegal incorporation of thugs that are running our government here in the U.S. that have catered to and executed this invasion of these very terrorists that we're talking about, these groups of Muslim cockroaches. I put it out there. I put it out there for this reason. They are here, and they're here with purpose. Not only, Wilbur, I don't know if you've heard any of my shows, but not only are they here, I'm going to give you some staggering statistics. On the .gov site, 2012 was the last update. I haven't checked recently to see if they've updated it. But at that time, 65 to 70% on the .gov site stated that our small to medium businesses are owned by immigrants. The largest portion of that ownership is Muslims. They're brought over here, they're set up in business, they're given a 40% tax break that the other business owners that are Americans actually own, and any other immigrants that are not of Islam own. They're not given that same tax break, and it's simply for this reason. One, it's against Sharia law based on their religion. You can't see the quotation marks, but I'm throwing them up there. For them to be taxed. However, they are to tax the infidel. We are to own nothing, and they are to take everything away from us, including our lives. And it repeats it over and over and over and over again. And they're to strike terror in the hearts of the non-believer. And that's Quran. It's in section 8, verse 12. Yeah, that's a true story. Now, if you don't believe me, go look it up, folks. I'm not blowing smoke up your butt. I'm not here to fearmonger or to lie to you. I'm just going to give you the simple facts. Now, what this says to us, Wilbur, is this. Our small to medium infrastructure has already been taken over. The caliphate is here. And our government did it. They gave your tax dollars, your grants, your money to them so that they could not only own and operate and control all small to medium businesses at some point, and those in particular are convenience stores. Now, you ask yourself, why do they own so many convenience stores? Because they have petrol at the pump. And one of the largest taxes that Americans pay today is on petroleum. Petroleum energy products are the highest taxed, and they're about to impose another tax on us for gasoline. This is very disheartening because they come over here with nothing. Their trip is free. I know this to be a fact. I know people in the flight industry. In fact, my roommate flies only international for a major airline, and she's been telling me for 3 years, Becky, we came back from France and we brought 200 Muslims. They already know where they're going. They're not going through security like we do when they come back into the airport, entering into the United States. They're not being checked when they get on the plane. They have one English speaker who speaks for all of them. They know where they're going. They've already got house, the benefits. They've already got this. They've got that. They've got this. Now they give them business. They come over here without credit. You and I need credit to get business. You know that. They come over here. SBA and other large government corporations contribute to this fund that they give them up to $20 million to open industry, and they place them strategically, demographically where they want them, and they always have multi-purpose for everything that they do. This government of liars, I can't say government, again, it's fiat, these illegal usurpers that have taken over our government to oppress the people. Off the sweat of our brow, these people are given everything, and then they start buying up entire neighborhoods. And let me tell you how I know this to be a fact. I recently, in this past year, was looking to purchase a home. I've been in the home I'm in for almost 14 years. I'm ready to move on. I need a bigger place. I've got a huge dog. I need a yard, okay? I have a yard here, but it's not fenced. Anyway, so I'm shopping, and I see these houses, and I go into the model home, and I engage the lady in a conversation. It's a real nice neighborhood, about 20 minutes from where I currently live. I go in, I'm looking at the house. I ask the price of the house. Well, house is out of my price range, but it's still beautiful. I want to look at it, get some ideas. Maybe I can buy some land, get a builder to kind of go off that blueprint, if you will, and build my home for at a cheaper rate. So I engage her in conversation with her, and she says, yeah, there's 60 houses in this subdivision. They're all sold, but I can send you over to Grapevine, and this home will be sold over in Grapevine at our other location. And she says, we've only been open for a few months, and the very first man that came in here and bought a home brought all his friends from his church. And with the exception of 4 other homes in this subdivision, they bought them all. And she said, you know what's really funny? I said, what? She said, they all own convenience stores. Okay, folks, they're buying $300,000 and $400,000 homes. That I said, ma'am, was he from the Middle East? She said, yes. I said, is he a Muslim? She said, yes. I said, ma'am, that's not a church. That is called a mosque, and they are not nice people. They're here with purpose. So now you understand the significance and why I'm explaining to you what they're doing. These people are pigs. They move into countries and take over regions, and the government bends over backwards for them. They put their lobbyists in place. Obama has appointed so many Muslims to major positions that are of importance in our government, in our homeland security, and it's pathetic. We have them in our police departments now. They're in our military. They are everywhere, and they made a very broad statement, Wilbur, whenever they stood and held a satanic prayer to Allah in the largest cathedral in the United States, and the Catholics moved over and let them in. Come on in. Hold your services in our building. Let's desecrate the Lord's place. I'll quit raging, I'll quit ranting. I'll go ahead and open the mic up to you, Wilbur. What say you, brother?
Well, that was the thing about France is, France took a hit, after all the bootlicking, panty waist, home bowing and scraping, and the jihad still came and took 12 lives, this is not surprising. France, for all its political correctness, is all very fine when you're getting drunk with some chick in Paris. But when it comes to this, nothing beats a good old-fashioned number 5 Texas ass whooping. You know,
Amen, brother.
Just last week, I was watching some videos on how these people were stopping commerce in the tourist sections of Paris by getting in the street. You there?
Yeah.
Okay. They were stopping commerce. And then, and with these people, I use that term, you got to set a standard. You got to let them know there's no tolerance, no understanding, and they are the minority. And by the way, France, how's that gun control working out for you, right? When they take off after a third-grade school teacher in Houston, like a bunch of mad dogs, you don't need a theological debate to see very clearly where they're coming from. And why did they shoot up the place? Because some newspaper made fun of their so-called prophet. Well, he didn't prophesy that poison legal lamb that Jewish woman gave him, now did he?
Right.
So anyway, I got a message for the Muslims. Don't mess with Texas. We're just about to the boiling point, and when the kettle blows, it's going to be bad. In point of fact, my heart does go out to the dead in France. In the city of lights, where people expect to have wine and cheese on the sidewalk in safety, this can't be tolerated, and it's a damn shame when the gentle people can't even make political humor in one of their newspapers.
Well, they make fun of Jesus Christ all the time. The Islams do. I've seen so many. Even the piss on Christ artifact that came, or art exhibit that came through. I was very offended by that. I was extremely offended by that. But I didn't go out like a bunch of Muslims, and I didn't kill the artist. He's entitled to his opinion, and he has to deal with it when he passes. He's going to have to deal with his own sin at the gate. I got to deal with mine. Nobody else is going to deal with my sin. If I've sinned against my brethren, I'll answer to the Lord for it. But at the end of the day, these Muslims are freaking idiots, and everything is just another excuse to follow their evil, violent ideology that is the Quran. And Muhammad was a pedophile. He was a sick and twisted bastard. And in my mind, he probably had his mind was probably eaten up with syphilis. I mean, they're ghost humpers. I've seen film after film where they engage in bestiality. I mean, these people are sick.
Well, that's like Angela Box called them goat rapers or something on TV. I have to think, well, they are. They are. That's not something she was making a joke about. They do that. They also have. Have you ever heard of Man Love? You ever heard of Man Love Thursday?
No. Tell me about it.
Thursday is in the Middle East. Thursday is a big day. Big day because that's Man Love Thursday. Also, now this is. It's not that it's not to berate the gay community in America or anything. What it is they do it. And then they turn around and do whatever they want. They believe in Bahrain, when they go there to party in the Middle East, Las Vegas, they go there to do whatever they want to do because Allah can't see Bahrain. It's all forgivable there.
Wow.
Yeah. They're just, it's a real, I spent a pretty chunk of change a few years ago on a very nice Quran. A friend of mine was Muslim and wanted me to read it, and I went and bought me a thing called the Ali Quran. It's a green one. It's got English and Arabic and explanations, and it's about 4 inches thick, and I cannot understand that thing to save my life. I've tried. I have tried. I'd sit there and read that thing. Every now and then you'll come up with one passage where Muhammad had his head straight. Like one passage is, you don't go around the world causing havoc. You spread the belief by your actions, not your violence. But see what happened with Muhammad is there's two flavors of him. When he came back from the mountain of the cave, and he said he saw that angel, he went around the Kaaba. He went around the Kaaba, and he's talking about all his beliefs. And as long as he didn't get in anybody's way or cost anybody any money in what was a very large commerce town, it was cool. When he got crazy, they ran him off, and he went to Mecca. Sometime between Mecca and Medina, he went nuts. And then you get all of this, kill the infidel, cut their heads off, tattoo their eyeballs, all this crap comes out.
You know what?
Hey, Becky, she got callers on board if you want to start bringing them in.
Yeah, I'm about
Okay.
to. Let me finish up on this. I'm definitely about to take some more callers. But to go ahead and close on this subject for a second, you know that the Quran mirrors the Bible, and that was done with intention. It's a mockery of our Lord and Savior and of God. Who is God? And that you speak of about Muhammad coming out of the cave and seeing the angel is an opposite mirror of Jesus being tempted by Satan, and that's in Matthew 4:1 through 11. You remember that?
I do. I remember that well.
Absolutely, and I don't know if you've ever looked at it that way, knowing that the Quran mirrors the Bible in so many ways, it makes mockery of it, and it's almost an opposite mirror in many factions. And in particular, if you think about it, Muhammad came out of the cave, Christ was in the wilderness. Muhammad saw an angel, Christ spoke with Satan. Satan tempted him.
Well, I know you got other callers. I'll let you go. This is a very, I mess with the movie business. If you watch The Exorcist, the old version, it's very subtle, but the producers were very clever. Everything the little girl says is some kind of perversion of the truth. Everything. Right. When they sprinkle her with holy water, and it says it wasn't holy water, it was tap water, and the uninitiated look at that and they say, oh, well, she made a mistake. No, she told a lie. Everything is a lie. It's the exact opposite. And with that, I'll let you get on to your other callers, and thank you for putting up with me.
Hey, listen, brother, I'm probably going to come back to you. I want to talk to you a little bit further in a bit. If you don't have to hang up and run, I'd love to speak to you again.
I will be here. I'll be here listening to you.
All right, brother. Thank you for calling in, Wilbur. I appreciate it. I've enjoyed that conversation. Area code 817. Who have I got on the line? Area code 817. 817, you're on live. Area code 806, you're on live. Who am I speaking with?
This is Dan Ferguson.
Hey, Dan, how are you doing, brother? Thank you for calling in. I really appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. How you doing, Becky?
Man, I'm doing it. Go ahead.
It's good
to hear
brother. Your knowledge on what the Quran exactly is, a mockery of the Bible. And that's don't want to sound like a religious fanatic, but Islam's straight Satan. And of course I live in Texas, and if any Texan people are listening, I feel like I'm preaching to the choir, but it is just perverted, and mainly what I wanted to say, I don't know if you're familiar with the name Walid Shubat, former PLO terrorist. I urge anybody that has any doubt, I hear all the time, Allah is the same word for God, or there's moderate Muslims, or there's, listen to Walid Shubat, or find you. I personally don't have any Muslim friends that converted to Christianity, so I don't have that luxury of finding one. And they will tell you the truth. Islam is out for world domination, Becky. You know that. I know that. And anybody with their eyes open knows that. But it's just how somebody, with each terrible incident that they do, more eyes are open. One day people are going to see it for what it is. And just from your knowledge of the Bible, we battle not against flesh, but the principalities of evil. And that lines right up. Islam, Satan, it's not to take away from the earthquakes, though. I know you want to talk about earthquakes today, but I think our number one threat is Islam. Whether a lot of speculation whether we have one in the White House, documented they've been in the White House. It's in today's world, deception is the name of the game. I mean, but my main thing is, if you have never listened to Waleed Shoebat, please do. He will open eyes like he opened mine. I didn't necessarily think Allah was the same word as God, because I'm a Christian, but Allah is an Arabian sun god or a moon god, and people make that statement all the time out of ignorance, and it's all about education and just informing people. But
I an article today, Dan, that was really interesting. And for the listeners that may have just come on board, this conversation started. It was stemmed out of what happened in Paris today. 3 Muslim terrorists screaming Allah Akbar went into a facility, an office for a news team or a journalist team, and they went in it was a satire paper, and they went in, called out specific people by name, executed them, and killed 2 police officers, and they're still running loose in France. France is very small. I've been to Europe. As far as them still being in France, that could be very questionable. Enough time has gone by, and it's very easy to get in and out in that region and out of border areas, hop on ferries, all kinds of things. There's easy access to leave and to come into France. My guess is they're probably not even in France at this time. If they haven't been captured, they're probably long gone. They're probably on their way to Yemen or Africa, because I understand that they have speculation these people were of African descent. And with that said, here in America and across the world abroad, the Muslims have targeted recruitment of the black population in many countries. And,
well, sure, and that's I go inside the Texas prisons as I do a Tuesday night Bible study in one, and Islam's the fastest growing religion inside the prisons in the black community. It's just insane what they're getting accomplished.
The sad thing is that they don't realize that the first slaves from the black population were actually owned by Muslims, and they were sold by Muslims. And in many countries, from the Africas to Pakistan, Morocco, Turkey, Iran, Iraq, Syria, I could just keep naming them off, they are still owned by Muslims. You see, the black population has been told by the government in many countries for many years that the white man is the devil and that they're the ones that are guilty of enslavement and oppression to the black population. And I read a very well-written article today disclosing that truth, and I think I'm going to print it out and go into the areas in my own hometown here that I know are largely of black population, and I'm gonna nail that. I'm gonna get a couple of my little colored boys who won't be noticed so much. I would be going into those neighborhoods, and I'm gonna start putting it on the cars. I want the black population to understand we're not your enemy. We love you.
And Becky, I'm in a unique situation. I adopted a mixed-race child 13 years ago, so,
I saw him. He's, by the way.
Yeah. Well, I check out everybody, on Facebook too, Becky. So, but, it is just, I feel like they're trying to pit us against one another. Sooner or later people will understand there's one race, and that's the human race, and then we're going to be better for it. But,
well, when I ran for governor of Texas, brother, I did that on a platform to secede. And one of the issues on my platform, and one of the things I wanted to see come to fruition in the new nation, was to eliminate the minority button. And the way that you do that is nobody has special interest. If you're not a vet or disabled, truly disabled, or you're not an orphan, or you're not elderly and incapable any longer of taking care of your needs, those are the people we need to have special interest for. But when you eliminate pitting one group against the other and giving special exceptions to one by way of taking away from another, excluding groups from certain rights and imposing oppression to them by administering all free rights to another ethnicity, that's where we start to have hatred and we have problems in the street. You know, I've experienced it myself as a person, a white woman. I have experienced from black individuals some serious aggression, unwarranted and uncalled for. You know, there was nothing. It was nothing that I did. I just happened to be in a public place, and they decided they want to pick on a whitey. I had a black man with a small walking through my grocery store, and he was with two women, grown guy. He's probably in his late 30s, early 40s, and he told that little girl, she was about 4 years old, stay away from that white bitch. She's the devil. He said that. He looked at me and laughed and said it. And you know, that was uncalled for. I'm walking through the store trying to get my groceries. I'm not bothering anybody. And I got this man telling that little girl that white people are the devil. Not just white people, white bitch. At one point, anybody knows that went over me about 150 times before I decided it was time to counter him, but I didn't counter him like I wanted to because of the child. You know?
Right.
I told him he needed to watch his. My name was Becky Williams. I'm running for governor of Texas. And if he had something he needed to say to me, don't do it in front of your child. You know? And I called him an idiot. But at the end of the day,
if I could chime in for 1 second, the caller really is onto something here. In the penitentiaries right now, you know, they are being the blacks are being they're being courted, and you know they're trying to bring them in, you know, and trying to turn them out to be Muslim. And, you know, trying to turn a lot of them, you know, towards that faith. But a lot of the people that they're actually targeting are all gang members and, you know, from different rival gangs and stuff even. And, you know, some people were saying, oh, it's a good thing because it's making, you know, where the different groups aren't fighting each other and so on and so forth. But that's not really what the whole thing is. What it all boils down to is trying to turn them all to the Muslim faith and, you know, create havoc, you know, amongst all the others. That's pretty much what it boils down to. And then when they come to the outside world, you know, they continue with it, you know, talking about, you know, pray to Allah, you know, and all this other crap, stuff that they learned in jail. So a lot of them are, you know, penitentiary turnouts and stuff that, you know, that turn to the Muslim faith.
They're easy recruits, brother, because they're already heartless. They already hate everything and everybody. They're very self-centered for the most part. They're all about taking. The only thing they give you is death and destruction. So, see, that's an easy pickings. And they're ignorant. Anybody that has that mindset is just anyway. So they're ignorant and they don't do their damn homework. They don't look up what Islam is all about. They're too ignorant to do that.
Well, I told you about the El Rukns here in Chicago. I don't know if any of you remember going back some years. There was a group here in Chicago called the El Rukns, one of the strongest black gangs in Chicago. They're also known as the Black Keystones. They're called the Blackstone Rangers. They actually they were a big group. The leader of the group's name is Jeff Fort. Okay, he changed his name to some Muslim name. I don't remember what it is, but they were paid by I can't remember if it was Ayatollah Khomeini or Gaddafi or I don't remember who it was, but they were paid $1 million to do some kind of terrorist act here in Chicago, and they sent them rocket launchers and so on and so forth. But the CIA, they were actually all their phones were tapped and everything else, and they caught the wire transfer coming in from wherever, Iran, Iraq, wherever the hell it came in from, and they actually stopped the whole transaction from happening back in the day. But that was a big thing here in Chicago, and it was news that made it all over the place that the El Rukins were paid $1 million, to blow up a building here in Chicago with rocket launchers and all types of stuff, and they were going to do it for the Muslims. So now we're talking, we're talking years and years and years ago.
I read
at least
that article
20, if not more.
Yeah, I read that article when you sent it to me. I read that article when you sent it to me. Yeah, that was crazy.
Right.
Hey, Becky,
Crazy.
could we get back to what you said? You seen Waleed Shoebat? Do you remember when he said, when I was at his seminar, a person stood up and asked him, hey, is there such thing as a moderate Muslim? And he gave this answer. He said, all right, when we went into Afghanistan to get the Taliban out, which is a extremist Islamic group, we joined with the Kurds, who is also Muslim. He said, while we're over there, one of our soldiers converts one of them to Jesus. He said, both sides kill that man. He said, now you tell me, is there any such thing as a moderate Muslim? And I was like, no, sir. There is not.
There's not. There are groups just like any other political group that oppose one another but may be from the same party, and that's what you're looking at. If I can paint a picture for the listeners so that you can understand that there is truly no difference between a moderate Muslim and a violent Muslim, that would be the example that I can give you. You can see that happening now in our own Congress. They act as two parties, but they're in fact one. It's all about power and control for a region over there. And although Muslims are fighting Muslims, that's what it's about. It's about power and control. It doesn't have anything to do with anybody's moderation or lack thereof. They'll kill anybody. A moderate Muslim will hold your feet to the fire while the violent Muslim cuts your head off, the radical Muslim. They're waiting. It's 4 different methods of deception, and Takia being the biggest part of that. And so while Muhammad is behind the counter and you think he's your buddy because you've been going in and foolishly funding terrorism by purchasing his goods and services from his gas station / convenience store, and you think he's your buddy, you're wrong. He'll smile at you all day long while he takes your money and puts it in his pocket to give to the terrorist or to give to the mosque and the imam or to help fund another terrorist into the country. Go ahead, Bobby.
No, I was just going to give out the phone number. We have some people that are going to try to call in here. 929-477-3565 is the number. 929-477-3565. Please make sure that you press the number 1 when you're calling in. If you want to talk about something, if you want to rage, if you want to welcome Becky back to Facebook land since she was in jail for, for posting, something very stupid. But make sure you press that number 1. Anybody on Skype calling in, please also make sure that you press that number 1. Skype callers are going to be the ones that call in and probably have like all ones and, stuff like that. And sometimes they don't even, they don't press the number 1 or whatever. So that's all I was trying to do.
I'll tell you this, Bobby. I'm seeing some callers on the board. I don't see their hands up. If they would like to speak, I would very much like to hear what they have to say. There's so much going on, not just with Islam. We've had 12 earthquakes within a 27-hour span right here in my area. That's unbelievable. Right. I really want to hear from anybody in the Dallas-Fort Worth area as far north as Plano. I'd like for you to call in, tell me if you've suffered any damages to your businesses or your homes. Give me any information about massive fracking in your area. We need to try to figure out why, and I've lived through my life, why we are having this massive number of earthquakes in one area, in an area that would never suspect.
Well, I would also like to find out if anybody knows anything about all these booms that have been going on. I mean, I know about it, you know, and we were talking about it with Tom Lushu the other night from Bunker Report, but there has been a number of booms, you know, loud booms just happening out of nowhere, and, you know, it's happening in the Midwest. It's happening in the Midwest and some of the southern states and stuff like that, and I'm gonna tell you what you're gonna hear later on, and I guarantee you, I'm telling you about it here first. I think that the government is doing something underground, and I have a feeling that we're gonna find out here eventually. Somebody's gonna end up leaking it. That the government is doing something underground. Some kind of testing, maybe some kind of detonations, you know, part of testing or whatever. But I have a feeling that they're doing a lot of that. Some of it may have something to do with volcano, you know, testing with volcanoes and stuff like that. Or some of it, they might be building more underground bunkers or something. You never know. But I have a feeling that we're going to hear about that later on.
You know what, brother? We've had so much fracking, and I'm talking, they'll set up a fracking operation here in my city. Then when they're finished fracking there, they'll bust it down, and they'll move not more than a quarter mile away, and they're doing this inside the city limits. This is not something that's being done in rural areas. And one would have to question, if that in fact is the case, and they're doing stuff underground, is this fracking being done strategically to cause divide in the fault that already exists, and perhaps they're trying to trigger something that would cause a massive, catastrophic event, would take the direction away from them, and we can blame it on Mother Nature?
Right. Well, you know what? I think that we're going to end up finding out. You know, they keep finding all these holes in the ground and all these craters, and they're like, oh, what is this? You know, it just popped up out of nowhere. There's this great big, you know, hole in the ground, and where did this magically appear from, and blah, blah, blah. And I have a feeling that's a bunch of bull crap. I think that it has something to do. Have you been talking and you're just going in and out and I'm not catching it, or?
No, brother, I'm agreeing with you.
Oh, okay, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't cutting you out. But I have a feeling eventually that's what's going to be happening is, you know, they're going to see that all these holes in the ground and these craters and this and that, they're not just magically happening, okay? I mean, ground's not just given away for no reason. Something's got to be going on to make it happen. Where I lived at in Chicago, okay, it's just a really short story. One day, we pulled up out in front of my house, and in Chicago, you know, the sewers run pretty deep, and, you know, the ground out in the middle of the street to where the sewers go to, you know, it's pretty far down. It's probably about 12, 15 feet down. So one day, we pulled up in my car out in front, and my wife got out, and she stepped on the ground, and her foot went through the ground. And she, like, her leg was, like, all the way down, and we were like, what in the hell? So all of a sudden, you know, I'm looking in there, and there's a giant hole in the ground that they just, I guess, didn't fill in properly or whatever. Come to find out, one of the sewers caved in, the ground all caved in and everything else. I kind of wish that my car went with it because I would have had a new car plus who knows what else. But we called the city out more than once about this giant hole that was in the ground that we had to keep putting stuff around so nobody drove into it or collapsed with it or whatever. And it took the city 4 months to come out to even tend to this thing. And when we called, it was like June or July, so it wasn't like, you know, now when it's bad weather and, you know, there's not really a whole lot they can do about it. But, you know, we couldn't figure out, you know, where this giant hole came from. Well, we finally, you know, figured out that, you know, it was a sewer probably collapsed, and then the water, you know, washed away the dirt and whatever. I mean, that was just what we came up with on our own. But, I mean, all these other giant, holes and craters that are all over the place just does not make any sense to me. I mean, that's got to be something that's going on underneath.
Wow. Yeah, I would think
Hey,
so.
am I still
saw a video in Louisiana where it was swallowing up an entire swamp. Just sucking everything in around it. Huge friggin' trees that were like hundreds of years old, just giant spruce trees just being sucked down into this hole and disappearing completely. Go ahead, Dan. Did you have something to say, brother?
Just mainly, I see we're all of the same mindset here that we know something bad's going to happen, and probably before Obama leaves office, but we can't pinpoint it, and I hate to sound like a conspiracy theory guy, but, it's just in everybody's mind and hearts that something bad's going to happen. It's just a matter of when.
It's already happening.
Well,
it's already happening.
Is the main goal martial law so he can stay in office, or
Well, here, let me tell you what's going on in Chicago. Chicago is the first city in the United States for martial law to be implemented. Okay, it's happened. We've had all types of situations going on here. They backed off of it a little bit. Okay, Chicago being one of the biggest cities in the United States, they do not want anybody here to have guns. They've already talked about, how they're going to help, try to confiscate them. Then what's going on in Ferguson. I mean, that's an ongoing situation. That hasn't died down. It just isn't in the news. Most people don't even know about it. It's still going on in Ferguson, not as heavy as it was before, but that's not the only city that this stuff is going on. It's going on all over the place. Those are all paid demonstrations. Okay?
Right. Well, we just had a cop shot in the face in Pampa, Texas, just yesterday. I mean, it's becoming a nationwide problem, and with
right, they're purging. They're purging is all it is.
And I tell
on.
people, if you go 30 days without law enforcement, it's going to be like the road warrior. It's going to be the strongest survive, and the weakest are going to perish.
Well, see, this is the thing that a lot of people aren't getting. The people that are doing that stuff, they have people that are putting this together. There's organizers that are paid by somebody. Some entity is paying these people to put this together, to get these people to act a fool, so then the mainstream media can go on and go, hey, look what's going on in St. Louis right now. They're rioting, there's people out there with guns, there's this, there's that. Then you got some activist that comes on TV and says, look at the people with the guns. They're out there scaring people, shooting people, and this and that. That's why we need guns taken away. Then the people start acting a fool. That's when they call in the National Guard. The National Guard goes, we can't control this. There's too many people. Then they start calling for curfews. Then comes the martial law. Then comes chaos. That's all that this is.
In a way, I think that it's a staged event to get the people to turn against law enforcement on all levels, local, county, state. So Obama can implement a national security force like he's wanted to do all along. He wants control, and that to have that control, you got to do away with a lot of cops. I mean, it's.
You know what? As citizens, there's a couple of things that I've been preaching. We've had a lot of black-on-white crime, and the media won't disclose any of that. They're very biased for the government, controlled by the government, won't tell the truth. Any whites are targeted based on their skin. In particular, the black Hispanics in this country. Now, anything that happens to the black person in this country, whether it's just unjust, is sensationalized and further instills anger and fear in the hearts of the black community and the white community. And so what we're seeing here, at the end of the day, a bastard by the name of Al Sharpton, another one by the name of Eric Holder, another one by the name of Reverend Jesse Jackson, Sheila Jackson. I could go on for days. Maxine Waters.
Louis Farrakhan.
Yes, and Farrakhan and the Black Panthers and the NAACP and many others, including white politicians and leaders in the community that are they're exasperating a bad situation with intent that is costing the lives of others. And I have said many times, we as American citizens, I don't care what color you are, my brothers and sisters walk of all color in my group. I've got blacks, whites, Hispanics, Orientals, American Indians, Vietnamese, Chinese, Japanese. I have people who follow me from all walks of life that are patriots, and they hate injustice. I do. We need to be out in areas that we know these things are occurring, and we need to be armed, and we need to protect and serve. It is your right as a citizen to arrest. It's your right as a citizen to use deadly force in the intent of a felony crime being committed. We should be watching the back of brothers and sisters in law enforcement. There's bad people everywhere. There's bad people in law enforcement, but those that are not bad do not deserve to suffer at the hands of idiots who are targeting all police officers. We need to be
Becky, look.
Our kids aren't attacked and our elderly not attacked because of the color of their skin. We are seeing this across the board in America. In 2012, 123 blacks fell to death, their death at the hands of police officers. In that same year, over 326 white Americans fell at the hands of the police, and not one in
Becky, look at the paramilitary look at the paramilitary that the blacks have put together. Okay? They have paramilitary groups that they say that they're going to go out and go against the police officers. Okay? And it's all black organized. Every bit of it is black organized. I sent you links to it. Did you get the links that I sent you the other day about it?
Yes, I did, and you have unity between groups that have never been unified before, like the Crips and the Bloods.
Right.
Amen.
Exactly.
It's like, you hit the word. The word is unite, and until we can do that, I mean, they're just going to keep splintering us up and pitting us against each other, and that's how it's going to be until we figure it out. One race.
Well, look what
the
they're doing
race.
now at the mayor of Chicago, and I'm trying to think. Rahm Emanuel has this sign up by his house. I'm trying to remember exactly how the sign reads. If you are not from this neighborhood and you're just like driving around, we are going to pull you over. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And then it says something about the Secret Service because his kid got robbed in the neighborhood, and I guess it's up by Obama's house too. Well, guess who's working the military? Guess who the guys that are patrolling the area are? They're all black. It's all black groups.
Well, did you hear Bobby, who the hell was that Mexican politician that stood up and said if we don't give amnesty to the foreign invaders, we would see a Spanish Revolution in the Americas?
What the hell is his name? Louis. God, that guy's caused so much. He's caused so many problems here in Chicago for the longest time.
He's talking about
he's a Mexican politician.
Mexican politician. Was it Lanza or
you're talking about. Okay, you're talking about somebody else. I thought you were talking about the Chicago politician.
I don't know who it is, but I need to look it up. But it is a Spanish politician who stood up and made that statement. In other words, you people are going to give in. We don't care about the Constitution. And he representative of the people. And he is exactly for the Spanish community what Sharpton is for, he's a terrorist. These people are terrorists. They have blood on their hands already. They incited violence that is costing the lives of Americans. Every time Al Sharpton stands up and starts his shit, we see deaths come out of it. And I'm talking all the way. He's nothing but a con man. He's a felon. He is a murderer. He's an insider. He's cost businesses, homes, lives. This cockroach owes $5 million to the IRS. I got the IRS hounding me for $1,300. I don't know him. And hey, in case y'all are listening, NSA, you take this back to the IRS for me. Kiss my ass. I don't know.
You got callers online, Becky, if you want to start picking up some of these calls.
Hey, Becky, I got to get, but it's very nice meeting you, and I'll be in touch.
Thanks, brother. All right,
brother.
You do that. Thank you for coming on. 870.
Please like us on Facebook.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, brother. 870, you're on live. Who am I speaking to? He had his hand up. I guess he doesn't want to talk. 860, you've got live mic. Who's on? Area code 860.
Good evening. Calling in from Massachusetts.
Hi, brother. Who's our guy?
I hope the sun is smiling on Texas.
Oh, absolutely. It's cold here. We got sunshine, but it's very cold.
Right on. Okay, so I heard what you were talking about, the Al Sharpton and the race riots and the cops and all this. Let's look at the big picture.
Yeah.
What if this is setting the stage for 2016, the next presidential elections?
Right.
What if this whole thing is an attack on the Tea Party to cause people with a right-wing type sentiments to not be welcoming to Latinos and black conservatives?
Right.
For instance, the Cubans. Cubans are very conservative politically. There's some black communities that are politically conservative, socially conservative, churchgoers. What if this is all a device to really create such attention that the right cannot count on the votes of Latinos and African Americans in 2016?
Could be, brother.
Well, here, you know what? Listen, we're firm believers that votes don't really even count for anything. See, I myself, and I think Becky kind of agrees with this a little bit, I think that they already know who the president's going to be, and they give you a false sense of security, making you think that you actually have a vote and that you have, that you're actually part of something and, that you stand for something. And I don't think that your vote, my vote, or the guy down the street's vote counts for anything. I think that, like, take, for instance, Obama. I think Obama was trained. I think that they were teaching him, and they prepared him for probably many years before he actually became president. And I think that they do that with a lot of the presidents and a lot of the people that are elected officials. I don't think that votes really count for anything except for, like, on a local level. Something like the president, I think that that's something that, they don't vote on that. I think that that's, something that, they handpick a person that, they're within certain genes and everything. Because if you go back on most of the presidents, they're all related somehow.
Well, two candidates have been pre-selected, where they're being heavily promoted. Everyone else is being ignored. All we get to hear about is Hillary Clinton and now Jeb Bush. As you said, selected. Sure, selected, but there's still a vote.
Right.
And it's also knock out the Tea Party as a third party option would knock them out, and all you've got is Coke or Pepsi.
Right.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I think you're onto something, especially, look, you just brought up Cuba. I mean, we're in talks with Cuba now. It looks like, the embargo's going to go through finally, and we're going to be dealing with them for the first time in 50 years, or what is it, 50 or 100 years or something, that, we haven't dealt with them. And now, not even them, I mean, we're going even into other countries that we haven't dealt with in forever because Obama wants to open up relations with them.
Right.
So that makes a lot of sense on what you're saying, yes.
I mean, that's a local political picture I was painting for you. It also, it goes beyond our borders. There is a grand strategy, and there are people with a plan, okay? We need to change our relationship with Cuba right now, okay? Because we are in basically an escalating hostile situation with Russia right now. It's basically just getting worse.
You know what? I think that's propaganda. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. We've had a lot of heated discussions with some people that are in the know, and a lot of people say that it's a bunch of bullcrap. See, we don't really follow the mainstream media too much because they fill it with propaganda, and they only give you about 10% of whatever's supposed to be the real news. And whatever they're telling you on there is what they're allowed to tell you. That goes through here. Take, for instance, you get a script for a movie, okay? You read the script, and then you have to do your lines, okay? I think that's what the mainstream media is. I think that's what your local news is on every level. They're given something to read. You see them looking down at a teleprompter all the time, okay?
Yeah.
That's not them just talking. They're given a written script, and they're only allowed to give you so much information. They can't tell you the whole truth about everything because it would be chaos here.
I understand that, sir, and I respect your perspective as well.
Right.
I'm just filling a certain area of the painting that
sure.
I'm seeing a blank spot on the canvas.
Oh, no, absolutely. We're always open for debate.
And I'm not trying to debate you, sir. I just have I'm offering some hypothetical questions.
Okay.
Right. So Cuba, the Cuban Missile Crisis, that cannot be repeated. If it is true at all that we have a problem with Russia, we've got to make sure that there can't be Russian military deployment in Cuba. It's just got to be.
Right.
And if the higher level stuff, that you could be absolutely right. But in terms of people who have a job to do as far as security, national security, this is just how it's got to be. You've got to face reality. You can't be on conspiracy theories always. Sometimes there's just a job to do.
Yeah, there is a job to do, and the biggest job that needs to be taken care of by the American patriot. And knowledge is power, no matter what arena you're in, whether it be in your personal life, your religious life, political, or otherwise. Knowledge is power. And we need to draw from that, and we need to find a resolution, because unfortunately it's looking like revolution will be the only other option if we don't come up with something, and we don't come up with it fast. And that's part of the thing that we really try to stress on Rage Against the Regime. Know the truth, do research, understand probability, but also understand that this rogue government, this illegal entity that calls itself a government for the United States, it has definitely gone awry. And they're being very transparent. The only thing that Obama actually told the truth about is that he would be transparent, and we misunderstood his transparency. We understood it to be something of good game, but it's actually he just really doesn't give a damn what we think, and he's going to do what he wants to do, and he's going to use his pen and his cell phone to do it. And then we have a problem where we have a Congress either by fear or coercion has decided to play along with this usurper whose eligibility is still in question, who's committed many felonies, not to mention espionage. And we have done nothing as the American people. We have sat back and allowed this to happen until the caliphate is being established in this country. Foreign relations, we are allies with people who have been our enemies for many, many years. His foreign policy is to put us in detriment and take over America. And we're seeing this unfold before our eyes. The things that we see going on in this country with the ethnic or racial unease that is being propagated by thugs that our government embrace and take into the White House, that the IRS ignores debt. We're seeing these things come to fruition, and they're being very transparent about it. That is a means of genocide. It is a means of unrest being caused. And every crisis has multiple purpose. So I suggest to the American people out here, we get on the same page and take care of our business, not only your God-given right to thrive and prosper, but your very existence and out of slavery come dumb men. But free men are men who take action and do their homework. Period. I suggest we get on the same page. Oh, go ahead, brother.
I have to agree with every word you said. You just said it perfect right there.
We've got to get on. We've got to get on with. We can't go on status quo. We're seeing some serious descent in markets across the globe with the euro, the IMF, the American dollar, hedge fund debt of executives and banks. Nobody knows what happened in LIBOR. We swept under the rug with Benghazi, and the next thing. There's always distraction and multiple purpose. They always utilize the crisis to its fullest. They orchestrate it, and the American public does not have the ability to grasp the big picture. And so you're looking outside of the box, maybe a perspective that Bobby or I or some of the other listeners had not considered. And I appreciate you bringing that to the table, because as a whole, we're going to have to look at all possibilities, because the only way we're going to find a solution is if we all come together, like minds like you. You're a great mind. You're full of knowledge. God bless you, brother. Doing our homework, coming together, getting it done.
Thank you. I'm enjoying the show.
Well, and what's your name again, brother? I apologize.
This is Ben.
Oh, it's Ben. Hey, brother. How you doing? Are you and Zeta doing a show anytime soon?
Tomorrow night on Blog Talk.
Would you please IM me on that so I can listen in?
Absolutely. Thanks for asking.
Hey, man, I appreciate it. And thank you for everything that you do and the opportunity that you bring to the public to gain further knowledge on the situations at hand. I'm real concerned with the financial things that are going on. I'm hoping this is Jean Smith. If you haven't friended her, I'd like to ask you to. Jean, is this you online? Jean Smith? 111?
I'm here,
Jean.
Becky.
Jean, I want you to meet Ben. Benjamin is a plethora of knowledge. He does a show with Zeta. And I would like to get into, for a moment, if we could, get into the financials that are going on and get your opinion of what happened with this, the speculation about MLK being a part of the reason this kid killed his daddy, who was CEO for a hedge fund. What's your opinion on that, Jean?
Oh, in regards to James Holmes, the United States. I've seen a lot of information and did a lot of research, and his father was a big shot scientist, engineer, and I saw interviews. There was an interview done with James Holmes after this all occurred, and he was in jail. And the jailers, there were some of the jailers, I can't remember if it was the sheriff's department or whatever, but they were actually being interviewed. And he kept asking them, what happened? What happened? He had no idea whatsoever. But I do believe it. I mean, all of these, with all the research that I've done, and I mean, I've come way back, many, many years, even to the Pan Am bombing. And the one thing you have to look at is what's in Aurora, what's located there, in all these states where they have, and Aurora's had numerous shootings, right?
Yeah.
And I started researching through all the years the different shootings and the different countries, and I don't believe James Holmes did it. I honestly, from all the research, he was set up. I mean, he was a good kid. He was going to be a neuroscientist. This kid, there were never complaints about him. He was very quiet. He wasn't a radical. He wasn't an extremist. He had his whole life ahead of him. And my understanding is his father was supposed to testify in the LIBOR scandal. Now, I've heard different stories about that, but his father was connected to the banking system.
We've seen so many bankers.
I believe the guy was set up. I mean, to think that all of this, his house was rigged. I mean, they went way out for him. Way out.
Ben,
so,
have you and Sarah done a show on the bankers?
What?
I'm asking Ben. Ben, are you still on?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Hey, brother, did you and Zeta do a show on the deaths of the bankers when it was real hot earlier in the year, last year, when there were so many diamonds?
Yeah, we've certainly covered it. I don't know if we did, a full show devoted to the dead bankers. Boy, that's a long subject right there. That's worth a show.
Yeah, it is. Maybe we should do one collectively, either here or on your show, and bring someone like Gene and Carol Ray to the table. They both work diligently on financials, the strings attached to whom. They're unraveling the web, if you will, and they're both very knowledgeable on that subject, and
that would be great. I'd be so happy if you guys would call in. I mean, that's not. I know that's what we're going to cover tomorrow night exactly, but in the future certainly.
Well, definitely. I would like to do that, and I think that when we do that, possibly we might do a little bit of homework on MLK and some of the PSYOP methods that the government and the CIA have used for years to control people and to get them to do what they want them to do. Because otherwise, some of the information that's going to be given during that conversation is going to sound like we're nutcases. But if we give them direction and let them go look for themselves to see that that's in fact, that these things are used as weapons, they take an individual and manipulate them to a point mentally where they're robots, so to speak, and they become assassins. They do basically what they're controlled to do. So anyway, I wanted to bring Gene in on that. Gene, are you watching the market crash across the globe right now?
Just what I'm seeing posted. I'm kind of following Carol and some of the others to see what they're posting. So, yes.
And my other question would be, is this guy that was murdered by his son, have you tied him back yet to the gentlemen who lost their lives on that plane crash that we spoke about the other day?
No, Becky, I haven't. No, I haven't. So you're talking about Robert Holmes, James's father, being connected to... No, I haven't. In fact, it's funny, I did some research. I started doing some research on Robert Holmes not long ago, and I really couldn't find much about him. So I don't know what's happened to him or where he's at, but...
It was just a thought. It was just a thought. I mean, obviously he's going to be... I really believe if we do some digging, we're going to find out who this guy really was and what his connections are, and and to whom. I wanted also to cover a couple of things going on in the area of your personal finances, folks. Listen, if you belong to a Federal Reserve Bank, and that's where you do your banking, I would encourage you at this point to move your funds to a credit union.
Right, and that's, yes, absolutely.
You want to tell people why that?
Yeah, as far as what I'm doing, Becky, I'm just investing in food, toilet paper, candles. I'm skipping bills to prep. I mean, I owe money. Got to have what you need. It's about to hit. There's big Walmarts in different parts of the country where the shelves are like empty, and people ask the manager, like, hey, where's all the food? You go, oh, there was a problem with the delivery, the problem with the warehouse. Stuff is getting diverted from the warehouse. It's not arriving at Walmart.
Yeah.
So
and we have many truckers. We have many truckers, Ben, in our group that are telling us they're not getting those delivery notices. So it's not because of transport. So it has to be another reason.
You know what that is then? If the truckers aren't doing it, then whoever is emptying the warehouse, they have their own trucks. That's something to keep in mind. All of our watchers, all our watchful patriots, you know of a warehouse, a big distribution company, supplies supermarkets, things like that. If you've been watching the movements, keep an eye out for unusual trucks. It doesn't look like the usual trucks that go there. And you can just report that on stevequail.com. That would be the best thing you could do for America right now. Thank you.
Give that out again, stevequail.com.
Yeah, that's Steve Quayle, QUAYLE.com. There's a section called Alerts, and people just post up things that they've seen or that they heard or different kinds of intel.
That's some good information, brother. I really appreciate that. We're all about connecting, and the time has come and passed where we have stayed so focused and divided on a certain few rather than trying to unify a forward front, not only for resolution, brother, but because when it does hit the fan, your ability to survive is going to be based on not just your own prep skills, but having others around you that can bring something else to the table. One man can't fight off an army forever, but an army can fight off an army until there's victory in that. So you guys keep that in mind. But again, I would like to encourage my listeners at this point, being that the stock markets are falling, we have inflationary numbers that they use for political purposes that are a lie when it comes to stock markets and exchange and recovery. We are not in a recovery. In fact, we are in the middle of a free fall. And if you think that this is fear-mongering, then I encourage you to do your own homework, seek the truth, and the truth will set you free. When they finish coming after the federal banks to secure those funds for themselves, leaving you barren, they then will begin to take any pensions or any benefits that you might have hidden somewhere else. I know that they're now disallowing certain withdrawals in large amounts from banks without question. It used to be the amount of $10,000 would be questioned and turned into the feds for investigation. Anything under that, you were under the radar and nobody questioned it. We're seeing people trying to drop $3,000 to $6,000 that are being questioned, and it's their money and being denied the ability to pull their funds out of the bank. I strongly encourage you to take a look at what's going on in the market, look what's going on globally. followed the IMF, followed the euro, followed the petrodollar, followed the BRICS, start doing your homework. It just takes a minute for you guys to get out there and focus on something else besides share on Facebook. Do your homework, please. Your family's depending on your intelligence to survive. And then you mentioned that you're foregoing some of your bills in order to prep. God bless you, man.
Well, yeah, I'm paying, but not the full amount. You know what I'm saying? I'm just falling behind a little bit. Trying to keep the gas on. You know, it's pretty cold tonight, but I've still got heat, so thank God. And I will catch up.
We've got some others, Ben. I wanted to ask you about, I know that you posted it up, and Keith Jones alerted me to it a couple of days ago, and we saw nothing but crickets. What's up with General Ham? What is all this rhetoric about him? Do you have any further information?
Seems like it's just nothing. It's just flapping lips.
I didn't see anything come to fruition with all of the allegations of this big man walking into Congress and arresting everybody or making a public appearance. This was going to be broadcast on, live TV, I heard, and then I heard it was going to be on the, the emergency broadcast system.
Yeah.
Give us this announcement.
Yeah, I know. I know, and I posted it. With question marks. Okay.
Yeah. That's what I'm asking if you know anything.
Yeah, look, the military needs to have a real serious talk with Congress. Sequestration of funds, it's continuing. It's eating up the military like AIDS. It's worse than cancer. It's faster. Just eating them up, destroying their strength. No, Congress is not going to fund Obamacare and endless welfare and, I don't know, Muslims on the moon or Cubans for peace. I don't know. You're not going to fund all these things and defund the military. It's not how it works. And, as I said, we've got a situation developing with Russia. On a different level, really the problem is China. Okay, China's about to drop the bomb on us. Not a nuclear bomb, a gold bomb.
Yeah.
China makes their move with gold. We don't have a counter move. We don't, not that I know of.
Wow. Gene, any input on that, sis? Gene? Did we lose her? Gene, are you still on, sis?
Must be
I guess we lost her. We got Bill on. Bill, are you there, brother?
Yeah. I've been listening to the whole show.
Oh, excellent. What do you think?
This is I'm here as well. These are all on, right?
What do you think about Ben talking about the gold drop?
Well, I've always said I wondered when the Chinese stopped being communists.
Yeah.
At some point, we forgot about Chairman Mao and started looking toward Bill Gates.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they are the Chinese are formidable when it comes. Number one, as much as I'd like to run them down and make a bunch of jokes, China's culture is thousands of years old, a lot older than the Communist Revolution. And to be honest, in most of their history, they've never attacked anyone outside their borders. They're too busy fighting among themselves. But with the internet, with the amount of people they have, and I don't want to get racial about this, but they're Asian. They're smart people, and I don't think that we're in as much danger from a lot of countries as we are China, just simply buying us out. To be honest with you, just buying us out. And the Cuba thing too. The Cuba thing, and I might be unpopular in saying this, but we fought the Vietnamese in the Vietnam War And in short order when that was over, we had relations with them, and they sell us catfish now. Okay, Castro's a communist. He's a tailbone. He's this, he's that. But good God, 50 years to cordon off an island so I can't smoke a Cuban cigar? I mean, let's get real here. You know, how much damage can they do?
Well, I think that port. Listen, I honestly think that port needed to be open for political reasons and for logistics of battle, if you will. And that's just based on all of the knowledge that we've gained and the homework that we've done about what's going on, terrorists being released, what kind of relations are we really establishing. I believe it was a strategic move, and it wasn't one that was only decided on by our own rogue government, in my opinion. I think the UN played a huge part in that. I know that China has great relations with Mexico. I believe that's part of the reason the border has been removed, not just the transcontinental thing. I believe that chess pieces are being moved on the board in order to establish victory of the destruction of America, in my opinion.
Well, they're attacking us from all angles.
Yes.
Honestly, I think the largest, what we started this radio show with, the biggest threat we have today is radical Islam, because it's you can fight the Chinese because you know who they are. They're all in one place, and you know where they're at. Radical Islam owes its allegiance to no country. It's everywhere.
Right.
It's among us, and that is the main thing. And they use our freedom of religion, quote unquote, our liberals. They use that to get among us. And like you said, the guy at the convenience store, where's the money going? I did an article a year ago about the big wheels are rolling, about how they load up semi-trucks with these people up and down 35 and all this, situating them here and there. And this truck stop loans money to that truck stop, which loans money to the truck stop down the road. And pretty soon you've got just hundreds of these stops and convenience stores all funneling money to the imam. And, if they were less radical, if they really were a religion and not a political party, it wouldn't be so bad. It wouldn't be so bad. But they are radical, and they're completely against everything. Oh, they're not just America. France, England, and France and England made the tactical error. Oh, we're going to be so civilized. I mean, we're not going to be like the Americans. We let live and let live and everything. Well, how's them bombs working out, dumbass? How's them mass shootings working out for you? How's that all working out for you? You're going to have to start listening. Texas is your last hope. We act like 88, and it ain't pretty, but it sure is final.
Yeah, I understand that, and you're correct. And when I was running for governor of Texas, brother, and my platform of secession, we're at a point in Texas where the entire globe is looking at us, and I think I shared with you and some of the other listeners, well, probably not you because I've just added you, but the other listeners and people who followed me and people who supported me on my run understand this one thing. The importance of secession, being the fourth largest driving economy in the entire world, being a state, having every resource that we need to sustain ourselves as a country was vital. And the people seeing network me from other countries like Canada and Australia and Brazil and the UK, they did so because they looked to us to stop this murderous usurper, this destroyer of the globe and his regime and the puppets that have put him in our government, our fiat government, if you will. They look to us. They're looking to us to stop the madness. And I might add, sir, that I am terribly embarrassed at the lack of unity and the lack of action taken by the American patriots in this country, because quite frankly, sir, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, we should have been in Washington by the millions letting this government know that we weren't going to put up with their shit. We should have done it already.
That is where, see, people don't understand the strength in numbers. Whenever you have a revolution, Becky, it's always about 3% of the people that actually do it. And when the ball starts rolling, then everybody wants to jump on. You got 25% of the people in Texas want to secede right now. But once we actually do it, then you'll find a larger percentage. And, oh, yeah, I was there all along. I was always for it. I was just busy. I believe we have a Irish embassy in Austin now. In fact, I'm sure. Yeah. Our listeners up north should know that. With an Irish embassy in Austin, y'all. What do the Irishmen know that y'all don't know?
Wilbur, you want to hear something even crazy? That the country of India has their flag flying with the U.S. flag in 2 different states in this country over their Capitol building. Gene Smith has been doing homework on it. Gene, are you still on, sis?
Yes, dear, I'm here, sister.
Tell Wilbur what you found on this American, or on the flag of India being flown in America over the building.
Right, it's flying above the state capitol in Olympia, Washington. It's flying between the state flag and the U.S. flag, flying at the same height, that appears. But that was actually, I found it on the Consulate General of India's website. They just had it posted up there and said, "Hey, look at this, our flag above the Washington Capitol building." So, and then there was an India celebration in Rhode Island recently, I guess, not long ago. And on that day, now I don't know if it's come down or if it's still there. I haven't done any more research on it. But on that day, they raised the flag of India over the Capitol building in Rhode Island.
Wow.
Well, so, Dean, a little point of trivia here in Texas. The way the flags are properly flown in Texas, you have the American flag, the Nortes, and on a separate flagpole at equal height flies the Texas flag, because it stands for the Republic of Texas. Where Texas was never a territory. We came in via treaty, which the Americans immediately broke. And so we still maintain, we are, and I always say it in my articles and my books, we are the Republic of Texas de facto. We've always been different. We've always been separatists. We've been gone for years. We're just trying to convince them to accept it.
Yeah. Yeah,
well, and because like I told Becky, I mean, there's so much going on with India. I mean, the stuff that's going on with India, the deals that this country has made with India. India is due to prosper and really grow. I'm concerned with all these governors, like Governor Christie was supposed to go to Mexico and meet with Nieto. Nieto came here, met with Governor Brown. Texas governor, what's his name? Liberal Republican. Perry. Yes, Perry. He went to Israel last year, met with Netanyahu. I mean, we've got governors meeting with the president of another country. That concerns me a lot.
That is odd. We're seeing a lot of that take place. Who did Christie go see?
He was going to meet with the president of Mexico.
Yeah, what the hell is that about?
So, but how many of them have? Those are just ones that I've seen. I mean, I don't know. I haven't done any more research to see who's meeting with who. There may be more of it. But then also, Becky, when I passed you that link where the mayors, all the mayors in the city of Texas, were being urged to vote no on the TPP. I mean, what the hell are the mayors doing voting on trade agreements?
You know about Italy. I know about Italy. And my guess is that plays low.
But my concern is just really that they're trying to divide all of the states, and turn them into their separate little countries. I mean, I don't know what's going on for sure, but it sure doesn't look good. You know, divide and conquer. They have all these states making separate deals and doing whatever they want. I mean, it's really easy to take over that way, right?
Yeah, let me interject.
It really does concern me to see that flag of India flying on the Washington State Capitol building. Not D.C., but Washington State.
Yeah. Let me interject something here. One thing that people don't understand about the Republic of Texas movement, they imagine that Texas is a state. If we were to succeed, it would be the image of the state that they see on their map now, and that's not the case. It extends up through Colorado to Wyoming, up to Montana, and extends westward almost California, and other people that in those areas that wish to come with us can. We're not trying to secede and take just our state back. We're trying to succeed, and the end goal, the end game is to take everything west of Mississippi, is basically, and we undergo the Texas Constitution, which is mirrored after the United States Constitution. We're going to use gold and silver as our money base, and oil. When we turn on the oil wells down here in East Texas, the Arabs are going to have to go back to doing caravan work again because we've got a lot of oil. The Mexicans have a lot of oil. The Canadians have a lot of oil, and we simply don't have to pay the piper anymore. And of course, they all scream World War III. When we do that, they start screaming World War III. Yeah, go ahead.
I have a question, brother.
All right,
you and I both know, and many others know, that we need to secede Texas. At what point do we exercise our right to prosecute our government in Texas for the violation of Section 8, Article 1324 of the U.S. Constitution, aiding and abetting the foreign invasion?
At the moment of secession, there is a Texas Republican government in place, okay? The Texas National, it is in place. Our trick, and I'm going to have to be a little conservative here, we don't want to pull out and declare war on the United States immediately. And we don't want to declare war on Mexico or Russia or anything. We're not capable of doing that. What we want to do is we want to take that fourth largest economy in the world and let these people know, okay, the joke's over. The joke's over. Now, we are a nation. Here's how we're going to deal. Here's what we're going to do. And you're not going to come over here and do these things you've been doing. Go ahead and jerk Obama off all you want, but not us. We're not going to put up with it. And that's when the other states will be piling on the bandwagon, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, all that, when they realize it. I don't know if we'll prosecute anyone like that right off the bat now. Some people in, like, Region 7 DPS, they may be prosecuted. And my old little pie in the oven, the CPS, I'm all for Nuremberg-type trials. How many children do you have to kill? How many children are too many that have to be killed? These people need to be hunted down, and they need to be incarcerated or worse. The cartels. Now we may make war on them. I'll be honest with you. The border thing, the Republic of Texas becomes a reality. There won't be any border guards. Oh, there goes Manuel now. No. We'll jump across the border, we'll take care of business, and we'll tell President Pedro he needs to just deal with it. Nothing he can do about it. Keep your drugs at home, leave us alone, or we'll do it again. And that's tough talk, and I know it sounds like I'm a nut, but it's got to stop. It's just got to stop.
Well, sir, I might ask you this question. Our time is nigh. And my question to you is, do you really believe that we have the projected time that it will take for us to succeed in secession without force before the collapse that we see coming, that we're already in the free fall of? For the entire
What's going to happen, Becky? The reason a lot of the people in the organizations are holding back, it's not because we're afraid. We know that the United States is in economic collapse. We know that they're disbanding their armies, that when Detroit finally falls, when Chicago finally falls, when New York finally falls, they're going to be more worried about their ass than they are Texas. And at that point, the Republic of Texas de facto will become a reality.
Well, sir, I've been actually asked to be invited into the elections for the new government. I have been asked. That was a discussion that I had with some of the nationalists with Liberty Alliance. My real concern here, and understand running for the governor of Texas, I had to have economic advisors. I had military advisors. I had advisors for everything, because if we did actually succeed, I needed to be able to keep this country from collapse in order to establish a new nation. And so in that council and in our homework, what we found is that many of our assets are being given away by this rogue government, or have been given away, and that would be not just assets as far as fossil fuel rights. It would be real estate. It would be industry. These foreign entities that this has been given to for debt is going to be a problem. They will establish a way to secure the safety of their property that they see as theirs. So we will have a battle on our hands with the likes of China and Saudi Arabia and England, and that's just to name a few, who've established a foothold by way of bribery or extortion from the people of Texas.
You're going to have that. Using the Chinese as an example, basically you're going to have to count on greed. You have to count on greed. Is it more profitable to fight Texas, or is it more profitable to work with Texas? Is it more profitable with the oil, with the agriculture, with the tech industries down here? You look at the losing proposition of America, and you look at the winning proposition of Texas. What do you guys want to do? You want to fight us? You might even win. Who knows? But why tear it up when you can make money? You know, we don't have to nationalize your land. Just play by our rules. We don't have to cheat you or anything. Just let's get on a fair. You know, we want international trade. We want countries like China to legitimately come and legitimately say, this is a good place. We would love to build cars here. We would love to work with you on development of pharmaceuticals here. We would love to do that. Don't fight us. Work with us. You know, or you can work with Obama.
I agree that trade is very important. I do agree to that. But do I, as a Texan, agree that they should have established ownership of real estate, millions of acres, or resources that have been used as a means of payment for a fiat debt that is not the Texas citizens' debt? I disagree.
Okay, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's just like after the Texas Revolution, you had people in Texas of Spanish descent that had property that was acquired with the Republic of Mexico. They weren't disenfranchised per se, but a lot of the fat cats were. If you have, let's say, a legitimate Chinese or Japanese company that has a big site in Austin that they legitimately purchased and they didn't steal or lie, and they're down there grinding out computers and working 12-hour shifts, you don't go in and destroy them. Now, if they've got a huge tract of land with stuff going on it, exporting back to their country, and we find out that the land was given to them by the fiat government, well, yeah, you've just got nationalized. You're done. You're done. You're finished. You know, we're going to have to, each thing will be an individual decision. We can't go in with an axe, but we do have to go in. And Texas does have to be independent. We have to be able to make our own decisions, not based on, like the OPEC people. Oh, well, we got to lick your sandals because if we don't, then OPEC's going to be mad at us. Okay, you can be mad at us. We got the refineries, you dumbasses. You have almost none. That's why you send the crude oil to Baytown. I know, I've been there. I smelled the air. Come on. And you have to refine their oil 4 times to get gasoline out of it. You know, they're selling this crap is what they're doing. So you can work with us or work against us, and we're not going to play with you. We're not going to play with you. It's as simple. It's not going to be, Becky, it's not going to be easy. It's not just like we win the Battle of San Jacinto and we run the flag up the pole. It's going to be complicated, but I think the lure of the Texas economy and the Texas government will be the thing that wins out. And like I've said in one of my articles, we're going to have an immigration problem, illegal immigration problem, but not across the Rio Grande, across the Red River. They're already coming. Toyota, Carl's Jr., I can't name all the companies in California. When I was there, the managers of a Carl's Jr. had to work 4 hours in the window as a regular worker. Every so often, they couldn't work. And then so they said, well, how you do it in Texas? Well, if you're the manager, you're the manager. That's it. Carl's Jr. moved straight to Texas, just like that. Toyota the same way. What do we have to do to build cars in Texas? Well, you buy the land, set up your factory, and build cars. They move to Texas right away. That's what we want. We don't want people down here trying to get a fast deal. We do not need any more pimps. We got enough pimps, okay? We got enough pimps. We don't need any more pimps. Got one in the White House right now. Don't need it. Yeah. Come down and do legitimate business. We welcome and love all people. We don't love pimps.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%, sir. I mean, you're spot on. You and I are going to be great allies. I see a very very close coalition in our future, brother, and I'm so blessed to have you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Becky. Tag me on my Facebook whenever you have a show and everything. I'll be happy to come on whenever you want me to.
I sure will. And if you would, sir, just IM me, and I'll actually have you on several shows. I've made myself quite a public figure on many venues, and am a frequent guest with Brother Garros and Terry Dodd and Ben and Zeta, Moretti Underground, just to name a few. Bankburg you. I'm constantly in contact or on the air, getting the truth out to people. I use Rage Against the Regime as my vent and avenue of truth, and to open the mic up for folks like you and Gene and some of the others that come on my show, and let them be the voice to the people. Let them hear somebody besides myself tell them the truth.
Sounds good, Becky.
Serious.
Listen, I've got a very important appointment I've got to do, so I'm going to have to duck out on you here in the next 5 minutes.
All right, brother. I really appreciate it, and thank you again for coming on and sharing that information. And if you'll IM me, I'll shoot you my phone number. We're probably not very far from one another.
Where were you at, Dallas?
I'm in Dallas, Fort Worth. Where you at?
I'm right down here by Fort Hood and Killeen.
Well, you're not very far from me at all, and I make many trips to meet patriots across this state, and I'd be happy to come down and buy you lunch, sir.
Well, I'll darn sure eat it. Thank you so much, Becky.
All right. Sounds like a winner. Right, well, God bless you. Have a safe night, and again, thank you for coming on Rage Against the Regime. Bill, are you online? Can you hear me? I've unmuted your mic. Bill.
Are you talking to me still?
No, I was talking to Bill, one of my co-hosts that comes on frequently. I see him on the board, but he's not hearing me. I'm trying to get him to speak up. Let me just. God bless you again, and come back. Wilbur.
Yes, ma'am.
I've got Bill asking me who you are. Bill, if you can hear me, go ahead and engage Wilbur before he leaves so you can get his information. Okay, I'll just get it from Wilbur. I guess he can't hear me.
All right.
He can't come.
You can email me, Becky. It's really easy. Remember the term Wilbur like the pig, spells just like it sounds, WILBUR, like, LIKE, the pig. Wilbur like the pig at yahoo.com.
I love it.
That's it.
All right. I'm orphan 61, as in single and without family. So I'm orphan61 at hotmail.com. Look for an email. I will be emailing you.
I will email you back. I'm going to run over to Valero now, and I'm going to buy a beer.
All right. When you see it, it's ORFUN, because I'm way more fun than my siblings. Yeah.
All right. Good.
All right, brother. I'll talk to you another day. God bless you.
God bless you.
All right. For anybody else that wanted to make a phone call, we've got about 5 minutes. We're at 929-477-3565. I'd like to hear from you on Rage Against the Regime. We've had great conversation today with many brothers and sisters. Gene, are you still live with me on the air?
I'm here, Beck.
All right. I think Bill just sent me a text. He was at the post office and had his son on mute, so he couldn't speak with us. I've unmuted his mic, but I don't think our brother's going to be able to talk today. He's really, really busy. I sure appreciate you coming on and sharing some of that information. Is there anything else you want to share with the public today?
You know, Becky, not really. Did you see the information I posted? Sure, I tagged you in regards to the post office and the benefits, and our postal workers are going to have all their retirement stolen here pretty soon. I believe that's what they've been working on since 2006. So anybody who knows anything about the post office or has someone that works with the post office or knows someone who's retired from the post office needs to be aware of that, because they're, like all the rest of our retirement funds, they're going after the postal workers' retirement funds. And there's quite a bit of information that I posted in regards to that. Bush passed some kind of a law back in 2006 that would allow the U.S. Post Office to pay 75 years worth of retirement benefit for the U.S. Postal Service in a 10-year period.
Really?
So that's all being funded, and yet the post office, so they've been paying this at $5.5 billion a year. And the post office is still broke. They're still in debt. They're still taking taxpayer bailouts. They're bailing them out through the through the Federal Financing Bank, which I have links to. And it tells exactly how much money the taxpayers have been giving these people, even though they're getting an additional $5.5 billion a year that is supposed to go to, fund the retirement benefits and the medical care for U.S. postal workers, which is not what they wanted. It's not what they wanted. That's what Bush decided was going to happen. There's still billions of dollars in debt. So,
wow.
They're stealing it all of it. And the post office, postal workers are very, very concerned. So I just think that people need to be aware of that and do a little research. So
yeah, definitely. That's information.
Yeah, and they're just stealing the money. Billions of dollars.
Wow.
They're just the upfront money that Bush decided they should have. Obviously, is going into their pockets. They've been planning this. They knew that this economic collapse was coming. They knew that they were going to do this, and they're stealing retirement benefits everywhere. So, why would they be any different? So that's that really. Concern me, and it's the privatization of the post office.
Are you not just finding that there are so many areas that they filter money through to extort it from the American people that it's just ridiculous?
Oh, Becky, most people don't even know, through these research and development grants, through NGOs. I mean, they have legalized every way imaginable to steal our money. And not only just to steal it because they're getting, multi-billions in their own pockets, but they're investing it, keeping the profits, and they're funding every damn country across the globe.
Yeah, meanwhile, we've got, millions of Americans homeless. 1 in 30 are children, American children, by the way, that people who need mental and physical assistance because of disability. And we bring up, millions under some bullshit refugee status, terrorists to come in and establish a caliphate, or fiat government has done that to us. I mean, girl, don't give me raging now. Damn.
No, I know. You've only got, you're almost done here, so. But, I mean, they have legalized every way possible in the book. Every way. I mean, it blows my mind, and I research it daily. I have found so many ways in which they are just doing it, and obviously they have legalized it.
And it's insane. Now, what they've done is under the guises of a self-established law not being put by the people before it's established, not being put before the people. They do everything and anything that they want to justify the extortion, to justify the criminal actions. They just simply write it into law. They don't ask us. Our representatives represent us. They're not our representatives, sis. They're just a bunch of thugs, greedy little ticks on the ass American populace that's sucking the life out of us.
Well, they're all related somewhere along the line. They've either been in it, maybe they were outsiders and they weren't related, so they were easy to corrupt, to keep them part of this cabal, right? We're going to give you your share. Hey, won't that be nice, And, all these congressmen are shareholders in these companies. People don't understand that.
Millionaires. They get in there and they become millionaires overnight,
Right. It's not just lobby money that keeps them, wanting to live their elite lifestyles. They're shareholders. They become shareholders in these corporations, the same corporations that are giving them lobby money. So, I mean, there's just so much more corruption, I think, than most people realize, and a lot of that lobby money is just put right back into these corporations. I mean, they have just got this ring of fire that everything goes right back to them. It doesn't matter where it is, what it is. And to keep those congressmen happy and keep them ignoring the people, just give them a piece of the pie.
Jesus, I know.
They're loved and appreciated more by the corporations than they are. What can the people do? We don't pay those people enough. So,
like I said, until we start taking care of our own, we don't need to be taking care of anybody else. I mean, even God tells you, how can I take care of others if I can't deal with what I've been entrusted with? How can I help the orphan and the widow if I cannot help myself? It's impossible. We can't do it. You can't do it without losing everything that you own. We can no longer sit back and allow the spending and the extortion to remain. We cannot do it.
No, everybody says, it's the Rothschilds. They're the head of the snake. Well, you know what? They're not. I really think in my own heart it's money that's the head of the snake. And we literally could cut that off. You know what I mean? You cut the head of the snake off if it's the money. You could cut everything off.
Well, yeah. You take.
And I think we really have to focus as a nation on the laws and the money and where it's going and the extortion and all these things that are going on and start bringing it out, because I think until we address the corruption, it's like what? I think it's Ben or Bobby, somebody was talking earlier about, we got all these little issues going and everybody has their little, their issues about this and about that. Well, those are just the symptoms of the disease, and he said it just the way I feel it too. It's like we have to treat the disease. We can't treat the symptoms, and all these little things are symptoms of the disease, and it's the money that has allowed them to do this.
Well, I will tell you
and our ignorance of the laws they've passed.
I have repeatedly told my people that follow me and listen to me, my brothers and sisters, my patriots, however you put it, they're my family. I have repeatedly told them, file exempt. Stop going to the convenience stores, the fast food stores. Go to the American-owned companies to buy your goods and services. It may not be convenient. It might not be what you want to do, or what you want to do but don't want to do just because it's inconvenient. Do it anyway. It doesn't matter, because if we were to squash corporate America, these idiots that are extorting us and drawing the lifeblood out of us, if we were to do that for 30 to 60 days, we would not only crumble the bastards in America, but the beast that is above and beyond the bill. We could do it. We could do it. Just stop it. If you own a business, just stop everything. Just stop.
I just say stop buying it, period. And that's going to crash the economy. Well, the economy is going to crash anyway.
No, let's take spoon out of their mouth.
Stop giving them your money. Stop spending. Stop buying anything you don't need. I heard somebody talk earlier. I don't think it was on this call, but I'm buying a new car, and I've got another friend who's buying a $2 million home, and that was $550,000 8 months ago, right? I'm going, are you nuts? Why are you people doing this now? Why are you giving them your money?
Yeah, you're just feeding HSBC. See, what people don't understand, and Jim could share this on Bank versus You, it doesn't matter who you mortgage your house to. It gets that note gets sold, and it winds up in the hands of the likes of HSBC and Sharia Mortgage at the end of the day. Why are you funding the beast? Why are you doing it?
Right.
A home should be paid for outright with minimal financing, if any, and you should be able to purchase a home in America for $5,000, $10,000 and live in a friggin' mansion. At the end of the day, that's the true cost and value of that home, and you're booked in for 30 years. You're on hook, line, and sinker, and you're paying $500,000 for a home that's worth 10 or 20. Why do we keep doing it? Just stop doing it.
Yeah,
Don't
stop.
do it.
But weren't you talking about, you were looking at buying a new house, you were ready to do something different? Shame on you.
Yeah, I didn't do it.
Good.
I did not do it.
Good.
And the only reason that I even considered it is to buy outside of suburbia. I need to out of center of a city. I'm a leader in this community. I'm one of the ones that's going to be on the front line. I'm not just a bitch who sits up here and runs her head on a radio show or is looking for notoriety. I'm the bitch that will stand beside you like any man with courage, and I will fight, and I invite death to my front door if that's what it takes to free America, to assure the safety of my future generations. Listen, folks, I'm not. That's what we're looking at. I am that woman. So I need to get out of the city where I'm not trapped, where I can be a better asset and I have a better shot at survival, and trying to, if at the end of the day we do go to war, trying to be an asset and not be a victim of,
Yeah.
That's a fact.
But I don't think rural America is any safer. I mean, the big cities, I mean, you definitely don't want to be in the big cities. I really don't think you do.
But see, I am in the middle of the Mecca. I'm 5 minutes from a university that's full of friggin' Muslims. I've got 13 mosques in my city. I've got a railroad track, not a quarter of a mile, if that, an eighth of a mile from that university and the housing where all these pigs are. That transports chemicals and petroleum. I mean, that's a danger zone, sister. I'm in a danger zone. I'm 5 minutes from Dallas Cowboys AT&T Stadium. I'm 5 minutes from Rangers baseball stadium. I'm 5 minutes from a major entertainment park.
I want you to know that the Dallas Stadium and the AT&T Stadium does not belong to Dallas Cowboys or AT&T. That the money to fund the stadium comes directly from the taxpayers. So I want to make that very clear.
Oh, yeah, the homeowners
we are funding those stadiums. Those belong to we the people. So.
But I'm saying that I'm in a danger zone. I am surrounded. I'm outnumbered by the wetbacks in my city and the Muslims, at least one white American, and I'm not trying to make it a racial thing. I'm just telling you the facts. One white American out of 500 to 750 foreigners. Invaders, terrorists. I mean, that's the number. That's truly the number here. And if you want to go black on white, we would go 1 in every 100, 75 to 100. And I live in a nice house. I don't live in the slums. I live in an area of Arlington, Texas, where the homes in my neighborhood are $200,000 and up.
Well, and next month they'll probably be $400,000 and up, just because of the price of housing.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I'm dictated by what I can do by a friggin' homeowners association that's been implemented by a UN management company called ICLEI.
Right.
My mayor has bought into that bullshit. My city council bought into that bullshit management of municipalities.
I think most of the cities in Texas have.
And that, you can trace it all back to that shit right there.
Yes.
Anybody that doesn't know about ICLEI needs to be educated. Because I'm going to tell you right now, it's a demon.
Right, and it is. It's Agenda 21.
Absolutely. So, I got a phone call the other day, the homeowners association getting complaints about somebody's car being parked in front of my house on the street at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Clearly the sign says you can't park on the street between 2 a.m. and 7 a.m. in the morning. And I get a phone call, and I want to tell you something. I went off. First of all, the car's parked there and not in I live in a little garden home community, not in the guest parking, for 2 reasons. One, it's during the day and it ain't nobody's damn business if somebody's in front of my house. And second of all, the young lady that owns the car that came over for me to do her hair happens to be mixed race, and she has MS and cannot shampoo and run a brush through her hair by herself. So I do it once a week. So it's not any of their business. She has MS. She's handicapped. Her legs hurt. Her feet hurt. It's hard for her to get around. She parked in front of my house and walked in my front door, and it's nobody's damn business. But I got a phone call, buddy, let me tell you something. I told them I'll get an attorney, and I'll sue your fucking ass. You better shut your mouth. If somebody has a problem with someone being in front of my house, you tell that Nazi piece of shit I said, fuck off. It's not their business. I was mad. I was livid, girl.
Are you still on the air, or are you off the air now?
Oh, we're off air. You're going to call me at my house.
I didn't know if we were or not. So.
No, we finished 15 minutes ago. You're going to call me at my house.
You know what I think? We need to have a show. I mean, I've been driving myself batty, going, where do we need to go as a nation to stop this stuff? And, Agenda 21, ICLEI, is the monster. I mean, it's not really, but it's behind all of this because they've passed all the laws and stuff. And I think you need to do a show on Agenda 21 and explain to people what it means and what it is. Because Agenda 21, it cannot be implemented unless your city and state implement it. So whatever cities have not been affected at this point, people need to know, and they need to get to their local, their city councils and their local city and state, especially city, because Agenda 21 cannot be implemented unless your city council and your city signs the documentation to let it happen. So I think that it's time to do a show on Agenda 21, help people to understand what it is and what they need to do about it right now, to go find out what hasn't been implemented, what has been signed away, what hasn't been signed away. Has the police department been signed over to the thugs? What other part? Are we going to have toll roads? And try to stop it at the city level, because that's what the privatization of our infrastructure was all about.
Here's the problem. They did not allow or make a public announcement, which they are supposed to do according to Bill of Rights, whether that's at a municipal or a state level or a federal level. The Bill of Rights is very clear that they are to 45 days prior for it to even go on the floor to be considered to be voted on. It's supposed to be made public information. And they're doing this shit behind closed doors without the public's approval, and you got a bunch of dickheads that are sitting up there in a council seat thinking there's somebody making major decisions for the American people, for the state citizen, that they don't need to be making without public notification. It's a direct violation. We, the people, clearly are supposed to be notified for this reason. They work for us. We decide what laws, rules, and regulations we will agree to before they are implemented to follow. That is the way the law is written. And time after time, we're seeing these constituents, these friggin' power bought-off mongering pieces of shit sitting in our city council seats, having the likes of good citizens and preachers arrested because they won't let them speak at a council meeting. They'll shut the doors. They won't allow us to an open public venue. And the ones that they do allow us in, they give us a 5-minute time limit to speak at the podium, and they don't give a shit what we say. They're still going to make their own decisions. This is where we have a problem. We have to remove the cancer before we can cure the disease.
Well, right, but and a lot of those people, as you well know, were put into those positions and elected and funded by the freaking Nazi, psycho fucking evil pieces of bullshit to go in, just like Castro. Castro is associated with Murdoch, the American partner, the New Partnership for America, I think it's called. Castro was a part of all that. He and his brother, they were funded by La Raza to go to Stanford and Harvard. But yeah, at the local level, these people are put in, and they're doing the dirty deed without other people knowing. And, maybe the head of the city council or whatever they're called these days, signed your life away, signed the entire city life away without anybody knowing what the hell went on.
Well, San Antonio is little Mexico anyway. And the reason, and people don't see it like this, but the reason that Mexico and the likes of Castro brothers and their pig of a mother, I hope they hear this broadcast. I can't stand you son of a bitches. And you need to be hung for the shit you've done. But at the end of the day, this is the truth. The Alamo is in San Antonio. What great battle was at the Alamo? It was between the Mexicans and the Americans. The establishment of Mexican nationalists and Mexican citizens taking over the San Antonio area, and the reason that it's been Little Mexico for so many years is that is a message that they sent to Texas. That's exactly what that is. Go ahead, sister. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's okay. People need to understand Agenda 21. They need to understand the American Recovery Act of 2009. They need to go to that. They need to read through it. They need to see what laws are passed. They need to go back and look at the executive orders that have been signed into law, even though they probably truly aren't law. Not really. But people need to have a better understanding of how all this is happening and why it's happening. You know, they just, I feel people rooting for this congressman and that congressman, and yeah, we need people to stay interested in the voting and stay on top of it. At this point, it doesn't really make a bit of effing difference who you vote for, because they control the computers, they control, and I've got some documentation that, you know, I try to get out there and say, please read it. It will help you have a better understanding of what is happening during the voting process. And because no matter who you vote for, they're already picked, bought, and paid for. And they can manipulate the voting machines.
I took pictures inside my voting poll when I went to vote for myself, obviously. And in there, on the way in, inside the building, and at every table, the sign was not only in English, it was in Spanish. Listen, if you are an American citizen and you're here legally, you know how to speak freaking English. You know what that said to me? Those bastards were here voting. Legal or not, they were voting. I took pictures of it and posted it all over Facebook, and I questioned the people at the poll. And the two women that I questioned as to why that shit was there and how are they proven that these people have the right or the ability to vote, this is what I was told. It bothers me, too. And if they have a driver's license and they're registered, then we put them up there. We don't get to question if they have a right to be in this country. So what it tells me is that our DPS, our state of Texas, issued license to foreign invaders who'd been registered at the time that they got their license to vote, and they were given the right to vote at that time regardless.
Right. No, right. They're doing this all over. I mean, there's so much they've done, you know, under the table that we're not aware of. You know, I think they've been doing it for years. And like I said, they've been bringing these refugees, Somalians, Sudanese, Lebanese, Africans, from all over the world, bringing them in. These are their private army. These are their mercenaries. They bring them in. They brainwash them. A lot of them end up in their detention centers. Their prisons and their jails until they've got them brainwashed, and then, you know, they cut them loose, or they put a mask and tennis shoes on them in those freaking black tights, whatever ISIS wears, and call them, you know, that's where our armies were coming from all over the globe. But when they bring them in here, they give them immediate amnesty or asylum. They give them American names. They give them Social Security numbers, and people think they're Americans. They're not Americans. They're not. They don't give a shit about this country. So they're there to create all this havoc. Just think how easy it is, all those protesters that have been out on the streets protesting the cops, protesting at Ferguson, protesting. I'm guessing that you'd find that none of those people are real, true Americans, that they have been implanted here over the last 20 years. And some of them brought in as babies, children, you name it. So, and they're all on government assistance. Well, not government assistance, taxpayer assistance, because there is no such thing as government money. And, you know, who knows how many of them are in this country? I don't think that we can possibly know, and we've been lied to about so many things, what the real population of this country is right now. I don't think we know. I don't think we're aware, because I know there's got to be hundreds of thousands of these people brought in over the last 20 years.
There's millions, honey. There's millions.
Yeah, multi-millions. I mean, we're not talking 33 million illegals. We're talking, you know, those may still be the illegals, but that doesn't include all the refugees that they've brought in over the years at, you know, 100,000 or more a year. For 20 years.
So, I mean, there's...
Yeah, and they don't just bring them in over the border. Everybody's worried about the borders. Really, the borders are not the concern. I mean, they have, these people own the shipping lines. They control the ports. They control the internet. They control immigration. They control everything. They can do whatever they want. They can pull them in right into the port of Los Angeles, the port of Long Beach. They have trucking companies. They own the trucking companies, and load them up on those trucking companies and onto their buses and take them wherever they want. And nobody even knows they've come in, right?
Yeah,
nobody even knows.
Every day, millions and millions and millions are traveling the globe every day on airlines, and hundreds of thousands are being brought in groups of 100 to 200 on airplanes into this country from Europe and the Middle East. That is being done daily. I know this to be a fact. This is not fiction.
No,
it has been done
it's absolute fact. Yeah.
You imagine that's one person telling me on one airplane, one flight attendant, have thousands of flights that come in from other countries every friggin' day. Do you really think that's not happening on any other flights, only that one?
Well, they control the airlines, too. They control the air traffic control towers. They control the airlines. There's the One World Global Alliance, I think it's called. All these airlines are members, just like member countries. All these airlines are members of this global alliance. They're all under the same rule of law. They're all under the same rule, whatever. So they do whatever they want. I mean,
it's an international law. It's an international law. In order to fly port to port, country to country, that's why when you're in the air, it's a federal offense if you commit a crime because it is under the UN control. It's an international control.
But who is the UN? Who do you think the UN really is?
Oh, well, we know who it is. It's a select few of appointed people by the corrupted.
Right, but they were started right here in the United States. All of these organizations were started here. They're for a reason. Gave them control of other countries. It allowed them to get in other countries' business. It allowed them to, take over. And the U.S. has always paid the largest share of the UN. I mean, the UN is basically a front organization for the United States, Israel, the U.K., and probably Saudi too. I don't know, but. At this point, who knows how it's changed over the years, but the United States has always financially paid the most money, which gives them the voting right.
Right.
So the UN is, it's headquartered right here in New York City.
Yeah,
that in itself tells me something, It's headquartered here. So, I don't know. It's,
and
they make it look like the UN so they can blame the UN, and I'm sure all these leaders that are involved in the UN are paid off. They're shareholders in these corporations as well, right? After everything I've seen and read and put together and connected the dots and just keep seeing it over and over and over again, just this big circle, and it all comes right back here. Or UK, Israel.
What did our government allow? What did our world government allow Obama to do? They allowed him to take a seat as the head of Security Council for the fucking UN, and he's not supposed to do that. He's not supposed to hold a chair in another body if he is commander-in-chief of the United States.
But you understand, that in itself should tell people a lot. If you're able to just critically think, if you just think about that, when was the UN started, where, who's really in control of the UN, who is the UN, really? Who is in charge, who is running the show? And you know what? It looks like the United States is. And they're allies, of course.
Unbelievable.
And the U.S. and the UK have been allies for years. So, because the city of London is a financial center, but no, I mean, it should tell people a lot when you see that the UN is headquartered here, that the UN is, that Obama chaired the UN. I mean, oh my Lord, that in itself just sent chills up my spine. It's like, man, it's so obvious, right?
Yeah, but the people don't know. Half of America, more than half, do not know that he is not supposed to take that chance. That's part of the reason they dumb America down. It's so that they won't know right in front of their own face what law is and what can and cannot be done.
Exactly. That's why I'm saying it's important that we get people, maybe some of these shows focus not on the shit that's going on as much as the laws that have been passed and how we have to fight those laws, and we have to get that stuff turned around if at all possible. Because you're right. It's nobody knows what the law is, and they've passed so much of it covertly. They've kept people so busy that people don't pay attention. And, I mean, there's a lot of it that I didn't know.
Yeah.
That, I do know now. And for those of us that do know, we really need to get it out there and make people aware of this, Recovery Act. And then I've got a friend who just tasked me something on they're amending the Tax Act of 1986. We don't want tax reform because we really, as Americans, we are not supposed to be paying taxes. Everybody else is, but we aren't. American citizens. We were tricked into that. There was no law that it was never, I think the 16th Amendment was never ratified.
You're correct. It's not.
Right, and we're not supposed to, and people don't know and understand that, so, I'm hoping, Becky, that maybe some of these shows will be focused not on the Muslims and not on the Raza, not on who's doing this, but the laws that have been passed right underneath their noses by Congress to legalize this stuff, and that people need to read and understand what they've done so we know what to do about it. I mean, I think it's kind of hard to do anything about anything if you don't know, what has happened and what laws they've passed to allow all this, because those are the laws we need. We need to get rid of the Patriot Act. We need to fight the Patriot Act. Getting rid of that in itself, if we could get the entire nation going, no.
It would take too long.
They're signing that law. It's not like it's enacted all the time. It has to be signed every so often. Is it every year or is it every 2 years?
It would take too long, honey.
What's that?
It would take too